All right. Tyler, do you want to give an update as far as where things are at with the um, well, I know we've got a list of items, but just what I guess maybe an update on what happened last week and then up to this week.
Yeah, and I that's how I was just actually talking to Steve. I didn't without getting into every little single task to but I last week basically Sam and I went on site on Thursday and met with Steve and Aaron, kind of just look at all overall punch list if there's anything that was missed. There's a few little heating things that had to get worked out with WHV. I think there's some controls on their side, so they're working on that right now with the actual control programming. Other than that, WHV was there fixing. They're doing all that Loctite on the fitting for where the water was coming off the back of the cells. I would say they're probably, I don't know if I'd maybe 90% done. They've been working on that nonstop. They got where that hot water, that backflow, they put a new check valve in. That was the cause. There was a 3-inch check valve that was failing, so they put a new one in there. I think, and Danielle, you were obviously in the email, and see if there's anything else to add another one to be kind of redundant, just in case one would fail, or whatever we have to do. But that's been cured. Otherwise, just any of the little items they've had on site, WHV's been there pretty constant. Stanley was there also last Thursday when we were on site doing a lot of the DPS switches that were either alarming, some not computers, the cameras, getting that fixed up. So really there's been a lot going on. I guess, Steve, if you want to jump in, if there's anything specific that I missed, I would say when talking with Steve about it, I would say we're substantially complete to it, with all the little items that have popped up.
I'd agree. So yeah, Tyler and I we're having a slight discussion a little bit, just sort of see where we're at with a bunch of things, and one of them obviously is the concern on the toilets. That's a good word that I'd stick with, substantially completed. So if we stick with like G, H, and B still needing to be done as far as toilet wise, we're looking at approximately probably 21 toilets. So I'd say that we're substantially done with like the toilets getting pulled apart, put back together again, put the Loctite on it as per the specs was supposed to have. If Winona Heat keeps working on that, we should be able to punch this out here rather quite quickly, because this is stuff that can be done basically mostly behind the scenes. G and H, they can't, because they're going to have to come in for those, and that's sort of why those weren't done yet, because they have to actually come into the jail to then go back into the pipe chase to then actually get at it. But you're only talking 9 toilets there, right? So in the whole big picture, smaller amount of them. And actually, when I think about it, some of those actually were retightened already, so it's probably even a lower number than that. I'd say the bigger thing would be like the HVAC issue that happened with the leaking of that glycol. That was corrected. The proper valves were put into it. Obviously, there needs to be more valves and stuff done into the future, so there needs to be a to be determined plan date when I can work with the Winona Heat and Ventilation and the maintenance, and if we need to move inmates and stuff like that, we can just do that internally and then set up a good plan for it. I think we just discovered on this last one that it was a bigger / longer, dirtier project than what we expected, because we actually had to cut into stuff and then do some welding. So it took a lot longer than what we thought inside of the jail. So it was a good lesson for us, I guess, to be prepared for the next time. And then it sounds like a broken record, but we're having less issues, but we're still having continued issues with Stanley and the integration system and stuff. And Tyler and I are going to hook up with Dean and Aaron from Stanley to finalize. So we keep narrowing this down, so the issues that we had are substantially smaller. Thank God the integration system's working like we want it to work. But unfortunately, every now and then we still have cameras that just go black. They just bounce off the system. A simple reboot brings them back on. But to me, that's frustrating, because I'm thinking this wasn't made or created, however the fancy IT terminology is for this, how we expected it to run. The cameras should stay up and running. So they need to figure this out. So at least we've gotten to a point of discovering things, figuring them out, and now we're at a point to keep sort of fine tuning it. But I can admit I'm feeling much more confident in the system, but still it's nerve wracking because you just don't know. We had a taste of it wasn't so good, so I just don't want to go back to that direction. I see Commissioner Meyer shaking her head, and I know she gets it, but it is nerve wracking because you need the system to work as it's expected and as it was designed. So hopefully we can get that plan for next week and move forward. And just anytime that we talk about this in the future, we'll be saying, hey, we learned this lesson to tell somebody else into the future, and then we're done and we're good for an awful long time. That's all I have right now. I don't know if Aaron Fee has anything to add as far as stuff.
Yes, Steve, I was going to say too on the valves, since we discussed that last week on site with Aaron. The plan is that I've sent it over to Danielle and the engineers just to verify what the verbiage kind of to make sure that where the valves are going is kind of what the intent was on the drawing. So as soon as we have that reviewed, then we'll get something in writing to you guys, so you have a plan. Because we talked about, obviously we'll do it in the spring, just so you don't have to shut down, because you have enough valves that you can shut down if anything would happen. But to add a few more, it'll be ideal to do it when it's not in the full heating season. We're not so intrusive. But we'll get it in a full written plan on what's going to happen and everyone's agreement, so we're all on the same page for that. The only other one thing too I didn't bring up is that we are in the existing cell block 5, the existing jail, the old jail, I guess I should say. And doing that demo work that couldn't be done until the inmates are out of there. So that work's starting this week here. I would think it's probably maybe a little bit into next week with some of the WHV's work, but then we should be wrapped up with all that in that area.
Do you have anything, Aaron?
Nope, everything was pretty much summed up. Winona Heat and Vent, for the back of the toilets that were blowing out, they had to order more 90s because when they installed them the wrong way, they Loctited the nuts on, which weren't supposed to be Loctited, so they can't get them off. So they're pretty much everyone they take apart is just getting destroyed. So they have to order more material. That's about the only update I have.
Okay. Believe it or not, I don't have a whole lot. I don't have anything else either. I'm sure that's surprising everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear. I think sounds like things are moving along and getting addressed.
So I guess the other thing
Yeah.
unrelated to the new jail build is Market and Johnson's back here today. They're setting up what I'm going to call mitigation. So polyplastic being put up, some kind of foam barriers for what I'm going to call some kind of sound reduction or soundproofing. So what was remaining from the old jail the old jail was to still tear out some ceilings and stuff in the hallways that we were still utilizing for jail operations while this new jail was being built. So since we vacated that, it now worked for us and Market and Johnson to come back in and start to do that demolition, so then they can finish the HVAC system as it was per the plan, and then put the ceilings and stuff back in. And then as far as that goes, that's done and finished. So they're going to be making a little bit of noise out of there, maybe sometime starting today and for sure tomorrow. And dispatch already knows this, maintenance knows it. So getting another section completed. I mean, still haven't heard anything new on the transfer switch or anything like that, right, Tyler? I guess you and I didn't talk.
Yeah,
about that, but
I guess I was going to say that's been the same date as of April as we've been tracking.
okay. That's reference the generator.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
Will we be able to walk through the old jail while that demolition or whatever you're doing back there? Is that all going to be closed off? I know several employees walk through there now because they park in different areas or whatnot. So we can or you can't walk through there during that.
So if they get that temporary wall, that's a great question, Jeff. So once they get the temporary wall out on the south hallway, a person can traverse from the exterior door through the proximity card and come through the old jail and then come out right by the old dispatch and then not go through our old nurses station rec room area. That's because it'll be that north corridor hallway that they're going to be doing the demolition on. I can reach back out to the workers here. I've got their number and just, we did discuss that this morning, making sure that that's the process that's going to play out.
So they're gonna take out that temporary wall first, you mean, so you can get through there more or less. Then.
Yeah, and literally close the door so you can't go through that other spot where they're going to be doing the demolition.
I got you.
So they'll be taking carts out and stuff, so it'd be just no different than meeting someone in maintenance with their cart in a very narrow hallway, right? I mean, that's going to happen. But as far as like a ceiling falling on you, no, you would be going away. You wouldn't be at that zone of demolition / construction.
Got it.
Alrighty. Anybody else? No, this is quiet. Is this Monday morning? I thought this was Thursday.
Just for the group, Stevie, you might want to just mention, I think I checked this morning and there's all but one, if not two inmates that are out in other counties. Yet Travel's one of them, is up in Olmsted, and
And
not sure when we're bringing those two back, but
yeah, Mook and Fravel. So part of that is just making sure that we have this plumbing right, because then we have to put people into some of these other classification areas that those units haven't been done yet. And so all of our inmates are back except for two. So anybody that's coming in being arrested, there's no shipping out. We're not transferring anybody. Everybody's being maintained here. So that's gotten substantially much better. Now, yes, we could bring back those other two, but then it would be what's probably going to happen is we'd probably get a 2:00 in the morning call that the toilets start popping off the back. So it's just sort of behooves us to make sure that we get this sealed up, because Fravel is a maximum security and a high risk type level person, and the other one's a very not stable person. So we want to make sure that once we have them in a unit, usually someone that doesn't have much stability or issues with mental health, that we're not moving them from unit to unit, because it really treating that person is no different than someone with dementia. Just a small movement, even internally inside of a jail, can cause a big management problem for us. So that's why they were not brought back yet, but everybody else was. Thanks, Jeff. I forgot about that. I don't have anything else unless Jeff reminds me of something else. Yeah.
Oh, Danielle, you're on mute right now.
Appreciate it. The only other thought I had was, is it worth touching base again, and just kind of keeping track of everything on a monthly basis still? What are you guys' thoughts?
I think so. I think it's a wise idea to make sure that everybody's on the same page, with the administration, board members, just so we're on that same page. That we're knocking on a better door than what we were knocking on before, but there still is issues and that need to be addressed. And I think everybody should be aware of like what position we're at with those issues.
Danielle,
Yeah,
that's
back up with. Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that sounds great. Yeah. Once a month sounds good.
Okay. Okay. And maybe do we want to pick up back with the, gosh, was it the 4th Tuesday of the month we were doing? So I guess that would be the 23rd in, a week and a half, and then we can continue again in February.
That works.
So the next meeting will be Tuesday, January 23rd at 9 a.m. And then we'll do another one, get it set up for February 27th. And then we can have something in between if needed.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay. Thanks everybody. Appreciate your work on this.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Thank you.